When I was adjusting my tie for Friday dinner at my daughter's 8,000 square foot mansion in Paradise Valley, my phone lit up with 7 words that destroyed everything. Call me now. Don't go to Monica's. My lawyer for 15 years, Marcus Rodriguez, never texted unless someone was dying. But what he told me next was worse than death. My daughter Monica had been bleeding me dry for 2 years, stealing every penny of the $2.8 million my wife Dorothy and I saved over 40 years. The forged financial reports, the fake sympathy after Dorothy's funeral, the way she'd kissed my cheek while robbing me blind. This is a family betrayal story you won't believe happened in real life. I'm Frank Bennett, 72 years old, and this is how I discovered my own daughter was planning to have me declared incompetent to steal what was left. But she made one mistake. She didn't know that I knew, and that's when my revenge began. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted with your life, hit that subscribe button and settle in, because what happened in that courtroom will restore your faith in karma. The next morning, I sat in Marcus Rodriguez's office on the 15th floor of the Camelback Tower, watching downtown Phoenix shimmer in the heat through the floor-to-ceiling windows. The office smelled of leather and old paper, the kind of scent that meant serious business happened here. Sarah Kim sat across from me, her laptop open, her expression professionally neutral, but her eyes holding a sympathy I didn't want to see. "Mr. Bennett." She began turning the laptop toward me. "I've mapped every transaction over the past 24 months. Pinnacle Designs LLC is the hub, but it's just the beginning." The screen showed a flowchart that looked like a spider web. My money, Dorothy's and my money, branching out in dozens of directions. Each line represented a betrayal. The resort development in Puerto Peñasco has lost approximately $1.5 million. Sarah continued, her voice clinical. "They're behind on construction, the contractors are threatening liens, and their Mexican partners are pulling out. Your funds have been the only thing keeping it afloat." I stared at the numbers, each one a nail in the coffin of my trust. How did I not see this? "The forgeries are sophisticated," Marcus said from behind his desk. "She used actual bank letterhead, matched the fonts perfectly, even included realistic market fluctuations. If we hadn't pulled the real statements directly from the institutions, I might have believed them myself." My phone buzzed on the conference table. Monica's picture appeared. One from last Christmas, her smiling next to the tree Dorothy and I had decorated together for 30 years. The timing felt like a knife twist. "It's her," I said. Marcus and Sarah exchanged glances. "You don't have to answer," Marcus said. "Yes, I do. She'll get suspicious if I don't." I took a breath and swiped to answer, putting it on speaker. "Hello, sweetheart? Dad, I was worried when you didn't show up last night. Are you okay? You never miss Friday dinner." Her voice was warm, concerned, the perfect daughter. "I'm fine, honey. Just felt a little under the weather. Thought it best not to risk getting Ethan sick with his SATs coming up." "Oh, Dad, you should have called. I would have brought you soup. Do you need anything? I can swing by CVS, pick up some medicine." The performance of care was flawless. If I hadn't known the truth, I would have been touched. No, I'm fine. Just needed rest. I'm actually feeling much better this morning." "Are you sure you sound tired? Have you been taking your medications? You know how you forget sometimes." There it was. The subtle suggestion that I was declining, forgetful. Laying groundwork, I realized now. "I'm very sure. Listen, honey, I should go. I'm meeting someone for breakfast." "Oh, who?" The question came quickly, too quickly. "Just Jim from the club. You don't know him." "There was no Jim. I'll call you later." "Okay, Dad, I love you. Please take care of yourself." "Love you too, sweetheart." I ended the call and set the phone down carefully, afraid I might throw it if I moved too fast. "She's good," Sarah observed. "She learned from the best," I said bitterly. "Dorothy always said Monica could sell ice to Eskimos." The memory hit me suddenly. Monica at Dorothy's funeral, her arms around me as I stood at the graveside. "I'll take care of everything, Dad," she'd whispered. Mom made me promise to look after you. You don't have to worry about anything. She'd been crying then, or at least I thought she was. Now I wondered if those tears had been real or just another performance. Marcus's phone rang. He glanced at it, frowned. I need to take this. It might be relevant. He answered, listened, then put it on speaker. Frank, you should hear this. A woman's voice came through, nervous but determined. Mr. Rodriguez, this is Carmen Ruiz. I worked for the Bennett family for 15 years. I heard you're Mr. Frank's lawyer. Carmen, I leaned forward. Are you all right? Oh, Mr. Frank, I'm so sorry to bother you. I needed to tell someone. Ms. Monica, she fired me right after Mrs. Dorothy's funeral. The day after. Said they didn't need help anymore, but what, Carmen? She hired someone new 2 weeks later. Someone who doesn't speak English. Someone who wouldn't talk to you if they saw something wrong. Sarah was already taking notes. Marcus nodded for Carmen to continue. The night before Mrs. Dorothy passed, Ms. Monica was in her room for 3 hours, alone. She said she was saying goodbye, but Mrs. Dorothy was sleeping. The medications made her sleep so deep. And Ms. Monica had papers with her. Many papers. My stomach turned. Papers. Insurance papers, Mr. Frank? I saw them on the kitchen counter later. Ms. Monica said Mrs. Dorothy wanted to sign them, but Carmen's voice dropped. Mrs. Dorothy couldn't hold a pen anymore. Her hands shook too much. The room went silent except for the hum of the air conditioning. Sarah pulled up something on her laptop, turned it toward Marcus. His face darkened. Carmen, thank you for calling, Marcus said. Would you be willing to make a formal statement? I'm scared, Mr. Rodriguez. Ms. Monica, she knows people. But Mr. Frank was always good to me. And Mrs. Dorothy, she was like family. We'll protect you, Carmen, I said, though I wasn't sure how. I promise. After Carmen hung up, Marcus pulled up another screen. There's more, Frank. I had Sarah run a trace on the account access logs. Monica doesn't just check your accounts monthly when she sends the fake reports. She logs in every single day. Sometimes multiple times a day. She's watching every penny that comes in, Social Security dividends, pension payments. The moment anything posts, she knows about it. Like a vulture, Sarah added quietly. Why? I asked, though I thought I knew the answer. Why does she need to watch so closely? Because, Marcus said, pulling up another document, she's running out of money. The resort is a bottomless pit. They need another $1 million just to avoid bankruptcy. Your remaining $300,000 isn't enough. She's going to need the house. Wait, I said. What about my Social Security, Dorothy's benefits? Your Social Security and Dorothy's survivor benefits are still intact, Marcus explained. She couldn't touch those. Federal protection. But your 401k IRA investment accounts, those she drained systematically. So I still have some income, about $200 a month combined from Social Security and survivor benefits. It's something, but not enough to maintain the house and your lifestyle. The house, our house, the place where Dorothy had planted her rose garden, where Monica had taken her first steps, where Nathan had broken his arm falling from the oak tree in the backyard, worth at least $2 million in this market. That's her end game, I said slowly. She's going to try to get me declared incompetent, take control of everything. Which is why, Marcus said, leaning forward, we need to move first. We need to document everything, build an airtight case, and most importantly, we need her to show her hand. If she files for conservatorship based on false claims of your incompetence, that's another felony to add to the list. I stood up, walked to the window. Phoenix sprawled below, all dust and dreams and broken promises. Somewhere out there, my daughter was probably sitting in her Paradise Valley mansion, checking my accounts on her phone, planning her next move. All right, I said, turning back to them. Tell me the plan. Sarah pulled up a new document. Phase 1, we gather evidence. I'll subpoena the real bank records, trace every transaction. Phase 2. You maintain the illusion of normalcy. while gradually introducing the idea that you're thinking about selling the house. Make her panic. Phase 3. When she makes her move, we're ready. And in the meantime, Marcus said, his expression grim, you give the performance of your life. Your daughter thinks she's playing chess while you're playing checkers. We're going to show her that you've been playing a different game entirely. I nodded, straightening my tie. Dorothy's tie. Then the performance begins tonight. I'll call Monica, apologize for missing dinner, suggest we try again next Friday. Keep everything normal. Frank, Marcus said quietly, I'm sorry. I know this isn't easy. Easy, no. Nothing about discovering your daughter had been systematically robbing you while smiling to your face was easy, but necessary, yes. Dorothy always said I was too trusting. I said, heading for the door. Turns out she was right, but she also said I was tougher than I looked when it mattered. It was time to prove her right about that too. Friday arrived again, like a judgment day. I stood at Monica's front door holding a bottle of her favorite Cabernet, practicing my smile in the reflection of the glass panels. The house towered above me, 8,000 square feet of limestone and glass that looked more like a resort than a home. The driveway curved around a fountain that hadn't been there 2 months ago, water cascading over black marble in the evening heat. Ryan opened the door. Before I could ring the bell, his grin wide and too white. Frank, great to see you. He wore a Tommy Bahama shirt that probably cost more than most people's car payments, and his handshake was firm in that way men use when they're trying to prove something. You too, Ryan. I held up the wine. Thought this might go with dinner. Perfect, though you've got to see what I just picked up. He gestured toward the driveway where a silver Porsche 911 Turbo sat gleaming. Just drove her home yesterday. 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds. That's quite a car. At least $150,000 of quite a car, I thought, remembering Sarah Kim's spreadsheets. Come on, I'll give you the tour later. Monica's in the kitchen. The living room had been redecorated since my last visit. An enormous abstract painting dominated the far wall. Splashes of gold and crimson that meant nothing to me, but probably everything to someone's bank account. Monica had mentioned it last month, something about an up-and-coming artist, an investment piece. $200,000, she'd said, like it was pocket change. Dad. Monica emerged from the kitchen wiping her hands on an apron that said Chaos Coordinator in gold letters. She kissed my cheek, and I caught the scent of her perfume. Something French and expensive. I'm so glad you're feeling better. I was worried. Just a 24-hour thing. I said, accepting her hug and counting the seconds until I could let go. 3, 4, 5. Normal daughter territory. Ethan, she called up the stairs. Grandpa's here. My grandson appeared at the top of the staircase, 17, in all angles, his mother's sharp features softened by something that might have been his father's conscience, or maybe Dorothy's kindness, finding its way through the genetics. He came down slowly, his eyes meeting mine with an intensity that made me wonder what he knew. Hey, Grandpa. Hey, yourself. How's the college application marathon going? It's going. He glanced at his mother, then back at me. MIT's early decision deadline is in 2 weeks. Your grandmother would be proud, I said, and meant it. Dorothy had always dreamed of a grandchild at MIT. If we can swing the tuition, Ryan added, laughing in that way people do when they're lying. These private schools, am I right? I wanted to say that Ethan's college fund should have been secure, that Dorothy and I had put aside money specifically for our grandchildren's education, but that would require acknowledging that I knew where that money had gone. Well, Monica said, ushering us toward the dining room, let's not worry about that tonight. I made pot roast, Mom's recipe. The dining table could seat 12, but felt intimate with just the 4 of us clustered at one end. The chandelier above us threw rainbow patterns on the walls. Waterford crystal, I noticed. New. So, Dad, Monica began as she served the meat. I ran into someone at Whole Foods yesterday. What was her name? The woman who used to help Mom with the house. Carmen. I said, then caught myself. Or wait, was it Carolina? I can't quite remember. Monica watched me carefully. Carmen Ruiz. She asked about you. Oh, I took a sip of wine, let my hand shake just slightly. That's nice. How is she? Fine, I suppose. Working for another family in Scottsdale. Monica's tone was casual, but her eyes were sharp. She seemed surprised when I said we didn't need help anymore. Well, it's just me now, I said, letting a note of confusion enter my voice. Don't need much help, do I? Ryan launched into a story about the resort, his voice taking on the desperate enthusiasm of a man trying to convince himself. The foundation's complete, and we've got 60% of the units pre-sold. Once we finish the amenities, pool spa restaurant, the rest will sell themselves. Mexican Riviera is the next big thing. Sounds ambitious, I said. It is, but you know what they say. Go big or go home. He raised his glass. To big dreams. We toasted the crystal singing, and I wondered if he knew his big dreams were built on my stolen retirement. Monica's phone rang. She glanced at it, and her expression shifted. It's Nathan. Nathan, my younger son. The one who lived in Flagstaff, who called maybe once a month, who had drifted away after Dorothy's death, like he couldn't bear to see the family with a hole in it. Aren't you going to answer? I asked. It's dinner time, she said, declining the call with a sharp jab. He should know better. The phone immediately rang again. Monica, I said gently, maybe it's important. Nathan might need something. Her face darkened. Nathan chose his side when Mom died. He accused me of rushing her estate settlement, said I was too eager about the insurance. We haven't spoken since, and I prefer it that way. He's still your brother. He's a jealous failure who teaches high school math while I built a life. Mom knew it too. The cruelty in her voice shocked me. Dorothy had loved both our children equally, but now I understood why Nathan had stayed away. Monica had driven him out. She shut the phone off entirely, tossing it onto the sideboard with barely controlled anger. If it was important, he would have called you directly, Dad. The silence that followed was thick. Ethan pushed food around his plate. Ryan suddenly found his wine fascinating. You know, I said, filling the void. This house is beautiful, but I sometimes wonder if I shouldn't downsize. My place feels so empty these days. All those rooms I never use. Monica's head snapped up. What do you mean downsize? Oh, nothing serious. Just thinking out loud. It's a lot of maintenance, you know, the pool, the landscaping, the air conditioning bills in summer. I sighed, playing the part of the overwhelmed widower. Sometimes I think about those retirement communities. Everything taken care of, no worries. Dad, that's ridiculous, Monica said quickly. That's your home. Mom's home. I know. Just gets lonely rattling around in there by myself. Ethan was watching me intently now, his fork suspended halfway to his mouth. You okay, Grandpa? The question was simple, but something in his tone made me look at him more carefully. There was knowledge in those eyes, or at least suspicion. I'm fine, sport, just an old man thinking out loud. Dad's not old, Monica said firmly. 72 is the new 60. When you're 72, you can tell me how new it feels? I said, managing a chuckle. The rest of dinner passed in performances. Monica playing the devoted daughter Ryan, the successful businessman me, the slightly confused patriarch. Only Ethan seemed to have dropped his mask, watching all of us like he was trying to solve an equation. As Monica cleared the plates, insisting I stay seated, Ethan leaned over. Want to see my college essay? He asked quietly. I'd love to. He pulled out his phone, but instead of opening a document, he typed something in the Notes app and showed it to me. Are you really okay? Mom's been weird lately. I looked at him, this grandson, who had his grandmother's eyes, and made a decision. I took his phone, deleted his message, and typed, I'm fine, just tired. How's your essay really going? He studied my face for a long moment, then nodded slowly. But as Monica returned with dessert, a chocolate tart that cost more than most people's weekly groceries, I caught him watching her with the same careful attention he'd given me. Coffee, Dad, Monica asked, already pouring. That would be lovely, sweetheart. I accepted the cup with hands I let tremble just slightly, noting how Monica's eyes tracked the movement, how a small smile played at the corner of her mouth. She thought she was winning. She thought I was exactly what she needed me to be. A failing old man ready to be declared incompetent, ready to have his remaining assets stripped away. Actually, I said, setting down the cup with a small clatter, I should probably head home. Feeling a bit tired. Of course, Dad. Let me walk you to your car. As we stood at my Lincoln, Monica's hand on my arm, she said, Dad, if you ever need help with anything, the house, the finances, anything, you know I'm here, right? I know, sweetheart. You've been wonderful since Mom passed. She hugged me again, and over her shoulder, I saw Ethan watching from his bedroom window. He raised his hand in a small wave, and something in that gesture felt like a promise, though I couldn't say of what. Driving home through the desert darkness, I thought about the performance I'd just given and the one still to come. Monica thought she was the director of this show, but she was about to learn she'd only been a player on my stage. Tuesday morning at the Phoenician Golf Club, the desert sun was already brutal, despite the early hour. Walter Hutchinson stood at the first tee practicing his swing, with the dedication of a man who'd retired with nothing but time and money. Walter was perfect for what I needed, a widower like me, a gossip like a teenage girl, and connected to every family in Paradise Valley worth knowing. Well, Pry, Frank thought you'd forgotten our tea time? He called out, his voice carrying across the manicured green. Wouldn't miss it, Walt. I pulled my clubs from the cart, noting how my Lincoln looked lonely in the parking lot among the Bentleys and Teslas. We played the first 3 holes in companionable silence, the only sounds our clubs cutting through air and the distant hum of grounds equipment. I deliberately sliced my second shot on the 4th hole, giving Walter the opening he always took. Bit off your game today, Frank. Just distracted, I said, fishing my ball from the rough. Been thinking about making some changes. Walter's ears practically perked up. Oh, what kind of changes? I took my time lining up the shot. The house is too much, Walt. 4,000 square feet for one old man. I've been looking at some of those senior living communities down in Tucson. Desert winds. Cascades at Catalina. The club slipped in Walter's hands. You're joking. That house has been in your family for 30 years. 32, I corrected. But Dorothy's gone, Walt. Every room just reminds me, and the maintenance is killing me. Do you know what I paid to have the pool resurfaced last month? But Tucson, that's an hour and a half from Monica. I shrugged, playing my shot. It landed perfectly on the green. Maybe some distance would be good. Kids need their own lives, right? Walter was practically vibrating with the need to share this news. By the 9th hole, he'd asked 6 more questions about my plans, each one filed away for later distribution to his network. I gave him just enough. Mentions of estate sales, real estate agents, timing for the spring market. As we headed back to the clubhouse, I noticed something odd. A dark sedan in the parking lot, engine running despite the heat. The same sedan I'd seen behind me on the drive here, taking every turn I took. Walt, you go ahead. I need to grab something from my car. I walked slowly to the Lincoln, pretending to fumble with my keys, while watching the sedan in the side mirror. The driver was young, maybe 30, wearing sunglasses despite being in the shade. When I opened my trunk, he lifted a phone to his ear. Reporting in. I drove home, taking an unnecessarily complex route. Through downtown Scottsdale, past the Fashion Square Mall, doubling back twice. The sedan stayed 3 cars behind the entire time. Monica wasn't just monitoring my bank accounts anymore. She was monitoring me. At home, I parked in the garage and entered through the kitchen, then immediately went to the front window. The sedan cruised past slowly, then parked at the corner where it could watch both my driveway and front door. My phone rang. Marcus. Frank, we might have a problem. I just got a call from a private investigator asking questions about your mental state, your daily routines, if you've seemed confused lately. There's a car watching my house right now, I said quietly. She's building a case. Document everything. Times, license plates, photos if you can. After hanging up, I stood in Dorothy's craft room looking at her collection of decorative birdhouses on the shelf. One in particular caught my eye. A Victorian painted lady design she'd bought at an art fair in Sedona. It was hollow inside, meant for dried flowers. Perfect. Sarah Kim had given me the recording device at our last meeting. No bigger than a button, with a battery that would last 72 hours. I secured it inside the birdhouse with museum putty, the tiny lens, positioned behind a decorative hole that looked like a window. I was placing the birdhouse on the living room mantel when the doorbell rang. Helen Morrison stood on my porch, 83 years old, and sharp as a tack despite her age. She'd been Dorothy's best friend for 20 years, their book club, and gardening society anchor. "Frank, I hope you don't mind me dropping by." "Helen, you're always welcome. Come in, please." She settled onto the couch, refusing my offer of tea. "I'll be direct, Frank. I had lunch with Meredith Carlisle yesterday. She said Walter Hutchinson is telling everyone you're selling the house and moving to Tucson. I'm considering it," I said carefully. Helen's eyes narrowed. "Frank Bennett, I've known you for 2 decades. You'd no sooner leave this house than Dorothy would have left you. What's really going on?" I hesitated. Helen waited patient as a cat. "Did Dorothy ever say anything to you about Monica?" Near the end, Helen's face changed, became guarded. "Why do you ask?" "Please, Helen." She was quiet for a long moment, then, 2 weeks before Dorothy passed, when she was still lucid between the pain medications, she asked me to promise something. She said, "Helen, watch out for Frank. Monica's changed since Ryan's business troubles started. She's not the daughter I raised anymore." My chest tightened. She knew, she suspected. The way Monica kept asking about your finances, pushing for power of attorney, hovering whenever the lawyer visited. Dorothy was sick, not stupid. Helen reached over, patted my hand. "She also said you were too trusting, especially with family. She made me promise to speak up if I saw something wrong." "And have you seen something wrong?" "Monica's been to 3 estate lawyers in Paradise Valley in the past month, asking theoretical questions about conservatorships and inheritance law. Meredith's son works at one of the firms." The trap was more sophisticated than I'd thought. She wasn't just planning to take control, she was shopping for the perfect legal strategy. My phone buzzed, Monica calling. "I should take this," I said to Helen. "Frank," she said, standing to leave, "be careful. And remember, Dorothy was the smartest woman I knew. If she was worried, you should be terrified." I answered the phone as Helen let herself out. "Dad!" Monica's voice was high-stressed. "I just got off the phone with Jennifer Hutchinson. She said Walter told her you're planning to sell the house and move to some nursing home in Tucson." "It's not a nursing home, honey. It's a senior living community. Very nice. They have a golf course." "Dad, you can't be serious. That house is your life. Mom's garden's all your memories." "Memories don't pay property taxes, Monica. The house needs a new roof. The foundation has cracks and I'm too old to manage it all. We'll hire people. I'll manage everything for you. I don't want to be a burden." "You're not a burden. You're my father." Her voice cracked with what sounded like genuine emotion. "Please, Dad, don't make any decisions yet. Let me come by tomorrow. We'll go through everything together. Make a plan." "All right, sweetheart, we can talk." After I hung up, I looked at the birdhouse on the mantel, its tiny electronic eye waiting patiently. The sedan was still at the corner. My phone had 3 missed calls from Nathan. The pieces were in position. Monica thought she was closing in on a confused old man. She had no idea she was walking into a carefully constructed trap, one built with the same precision I'd once used to construct shopping centers and office buildings. The performance would continue tomorrow in this very room with Dorothy's birdhouse as witness. Wednesday afternoon, they arrived like vultures who'd spotted carrion. Monica's white Mercedes pulled into my driveway at exactly 2 o'clock, followed by Ryan's new Porsche. I watched from the kitchen window as they sat in their cars for a moment, apparently coordinating by phone. The sedan that had been watching my house was gone. No need for surveillance when they were making a direct assault. "Just a minute. I called when the doorbell rang, deliberately taking my time. I needed to be slightly scattered a bit, overwhelmed. I knocked a magazine off the coffee table, left it on the floor. Put my reading glasses in my shirt pocket, then patted my head looking for them. Monica had her own key, but waited for me to answer, playing the respectful daughter for anyone who might be watching. When I opened the door, her face was arranged in an expression of deep concern. "Dad, thank you for seeing us. We've been so worried." Ryan stood behind her, looking uncomfortable in chinos and a golf shirt, like a man dressed for a job interview he didn't want. They came in Monica's eyes, immediately scanning the room, taking inventory. I saw her gaze pause on Dorothy's birdhouse on the mantel, but only for a second. "Can I make you some tea?" I asked, already heading to the kitchen. I was just about to put the kettle on. "That would be nice, Dad." In the kitchen, I took my time. Filled the kettle slowly, couldn't find the tea bags at first, dropped a spoon. Through the doorway, I could hear them whispering urgently. 10 minutes was enough for them to feel secure, to think I couldn't hear them. When I returned with the tea tray, they were seated on the couch, Monica's leather portfolio open on the coffee table. "Dad, we need to talk about this Tucson idea," Monica began. "It's just not practical." "Oh," I set the tray down carefully, my hand trembling just enough to make the cups rattle. "It seems very practical to me. No maintenance meals, provided medical staff on site." "Those places are for people who can't take care of themselves," Ryan interjected. "You're not there yet, Frank." "Yet?" The word hung in the air like a promise. "I just think it would be easier," I said, sinking into my chair. "This house, sometimes I forget which switch controls which light. And the property taxes are due, aren't they? Or did I already pay them?" Monica and Ryan exchanged a look. "Dad, you don't need to worry about any of that. I can handle everything for you." "But what if something happens to me? What if I don't know, have a stroke or something? Who makes decisions?" Then Monica leaned forward, her voice gentle. "That's actually something we wanted to discuss. Ryan and I have been talking to some financial advisors. The thing is," Ryan cut in his voice, taking on an urgent edge, "the Mexico project needs an emergency injection of capital. Just temporarily. The investors are getting nervous about some permit delays. But if we can show them we have backing—" "Ryan," Monica said sharply, "he should know Mon. It affects the family finances." Monica's jaw tightened. "What Ryan means is, we want to make sure all of our family's assets are protected and working for us. Your money just sitting in low-yield accounts isn't helping anyone." "I don't understand all that financial stuff," I said, stirring my tea with a shaking hand. "Dorothy always handled the investments." Monica moved to the ottoman in front of my chair, taking my hands in hers. Her perfume was overwhelming this close, something expensive and predatory. "Dad, I'm worried about you. This talk of selling the house, moving away. It's not like you. Have you been taking your medications?" "I think so. The blue one's in the morning, right? Or is it evening?" "Dad." Her voice was soft, but her grip on my hands tightened. "Maybe it's time we made things official. A conservatorship would protect you, make sure no one takes advantage of you." "Takes advantage?" I blinked at her, confused. "Who would do that?" "There are terrible people out there who prey on seniors. Con artists, scammers." She stood pacing now. "And if something happened to you, if you became unable to make decisions, everything could be tied up in court for years." "But you have power of attorney," I said. "That's not enough anymore. Not if you're talking about selling major assets. You need more protection than that." She walked toward the mantel, and my heart nearly stopped. Her hand reached out, fingers brushing the birdhouse. I knocked over my teacup. Oh, the crash was spectacular tea spreading across the coffee table, dripping onto the Persian rug Dorothy had bought in Santa Fe. "Dad!" Monica rushed back, grabbing napkins from the kitchen. "I'm so clumsy lately," I mumbled, dabbing ineffectively at the spill. "My hands just don't work right anymore." As Monica and Ryan dealt with the mess, I heard something, a creak from upstairs. We all froze. "Is someone here?" Monica asked. No, the house just makes noises, old bones like me." I laughed weakly, but I knew that sound. The third stair from the top, the one that always announced Ethan when he tried to sneak down for midnight snacks. How long had he been up there? How had he gotten in? Monica returned to her position on the ottoman, her speech clearly rehearsed. Dad, we can file the paperwork this week. The court will see that you need help, that you're confused about finances, that this idea of selling the house is clearly not in your best interests. And then what? I asked. Then I take care of everything just like I have been, but legally, properly. No one can question it. Ryan's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, his face paling. The contractor in Mexico? He says if we don't pay by Friday, he's walking off the site. How much? Monica asked without looking at him. $300,000 minimum. Monica turned back to me, and for just a moment, the mask slipped. I saw desperation in her eyes, raw and ugly. Dad, we could also look at restructuring some of your investments. Move them into bonds, something stable and long-term. It would protect the principal while still allowing for some liquidity if there are family emergencies. Family emergencies? I repeated slowly. Like Ryan's resort. The room went very still. That's not what I meant, Monica said quickly. I meant medical emergencies, house repairs. The house that I'm selling? You're not selling the house, Dad. You're confused. Am I? For a heartbeat, we stared at each other, and I wondered if she could see through my performance the way I could see through hers. Yes, she said firmly. You are. And if you can't see that, then maybe we need to file for conservatorship immediately. Emergency basis. For your own protection. I let my shoulders slump, made my voice small. If you think that's best, sweetheart. The triumph that flashed across her face was obscene. They left 20 minutes later, Monica kissing my cheek, promising to handle everything to take care of me. Ryan shook my hand, his palms sweaty, his smile forced. I waited until their cars disappeared down the street, then went to the mantel. The tiny red light on the recording device blinked steadily. Then I went upstairs. Ethan was sitting on the floor of the guest bedroom, pale and shaking. How did you get in? I asked. Still have my key from when Grandma was sick. I heard everything, Grandpa. Mom's gonna lock you away. We have to stop her. We will, I said. I have it all recorded. You knew this would happen. I nodded. Your grandmother warned Helen Morrison about your mother. I had to be ready. We sat in silence for a moment. What are you going to do? He asked. What I have to do, I said. What your grandmother would want me to do. Later, alone in my car in the garage, I listened to the recording from the birdhouse. Every word was crystal clear. Monica's threat of conservatorship. Ryan's admission about Mexico. The conspiracy to drain what was left of my assets. And for the first time since this nightmare began, I cried. Not for the money, but for the daughter I'd lost somewhere along the way. The little girl who used to dance on my feet at weddings was gone, replaced by a stranger wearing her face. Dorothy had known. Even dying, she'd seen what I'd been too blind to see. But now I saw, and now I had proof. The performance would continue, but the final act was beginning. 3 days after the confrontation with Monica, Sarah Kim called me to her office. It was Saturday morning, the building nearly empty, our footsteps echoing in the marble lobby. She'd said it was urgent, but wouldn't explain over the phone. Marcus was already there when I arrived, standing by the window with his back to the room. The way he held his shoulders told me something was very wrong. Sit down, Frank, Sarah said gently, gesturing to a chair. On her desk was a manila folder thick with documents. What did you find? I asked, though part of me didn't want to know. Sarah opened the folder, revealing a photocopy of an insurance document. This is Dorothy's life insurance policy, $800,000 taken out 15 years ago. Do you remember the beneficiary, Ethan's college fund? I said immediately. We set up an educational trust, Dorothy insisted. That's what the original documentation shows, Sarah confirmed, pulling out another paper. But 3 weeks before Dorothy passed away, a change of beneficiary form was filed. I looked at the form. There was Dorothy's signature at the bottom, shaky but recognizable. The new beneficiary was Monica Bennett Walsh. Dorothy was on morphine then, I said slowly. She could barely hold a pen. That's what I thought, Sarah said. So I took the signature to 3 different forensic document examiners. I didn't tell them the circumstances, just asked them to compare it to known samples of Dorothy's signature. She placed 3 reports in front of me. Each one came to the same conclusion. The first expert said the signature showed signs of tracing, Sarah explained. See these hesitation marks? Here and here? Those occur when someone is drawing rather than signing. The second expert noted that the pressure patterns were wrong, consistent throughout, not variable like natural handwriting. The third, she paused. The third said it was the most obvious forgery he'd seen in 20 years. The room spun slightly. I gripped the arms of my chair. There's more, Marcus said, finally turning from the window. Sarah pulled the visitor logs from the hospice facility. Another document appeared. A sign-in sheet. Monica's name appeared again and again in the final weeks, sometimes staying for hours. I also spoke with Carmen again, Sarah continued. She was reluctant, but she finally told me what she saw. Monica went into Dorothy's room multiple times in that last week, always with paperwork. Carmen assumed it was medical forms, power of attorney updates. But one night, she saw Monica practicing something at the kitchen table. Practicing what? Writing, the same letters over and over. Carmen didn't think anything of it at the time, but looking back, I stood up abruptly, walked to the window. Phoenix stretched out below all glass and concrete and hidden sins. She forged her mother's signature while Dorothy was dying. It appears so, Marcus said quietly. Dorothy was in pain. Terrible pain. And Monica was in her room stealing from her. My voice sounded strange, disconnected. From Ethan. Dorothy wanted that money to go to Ethan's education. The insurance company paid out 6 weeks after Dorothy passed, Sarah said. The full $800,000 went directly to Monica's personal account. From there, it was transferred to Pinnacle Designs within days. I thought about Dorothy in those final weeks, how she'd drift in and out of consciousness, how she'd sometimes mistake me for her father dead 20 years. How Monica would sit by her bed, holding her hand, whispering that everything would be okay. Can we prove it? I asked. The forensic reports are solid, Marcus said. Combined with the circumstantial evidence, Dorothy's condition, the visitor logs, Carmen's testimony about Monica practicing writing, yes, we can prove it. This is a felony, Sarah added. Forgery, insurance fraud, elder abuse. With the amounts involved, Monica is looking at serious prison time. Prison. My daughter in prison. Frank, Marcus said gently, I know this is hard. Hard. I turned to face them. Dorothy trusted her. Even at the end, even when she suspected something was wrong, she never imagined Monica would steal from her while she was dying. Would steal from her own son's future. I picked up the forged document, studied the shaky signature. Someone had sat down and carefully, methodically copied my dying wife's handwriting to steal $800,000 meant for our grandson's education. Carmen said something else. Sarah said quietly. The night Dorothy died, Monica was the only one with her. Carmen had gone home, you were getting coffee. Monica was alone with her for almost an hour. What are you suggesting? Nothing. Just, the timing was convenient. The forgery had been filed, but Dorothy could have still reported it if she'd recovered even temporarily. I set down the document carefully, afraid I might tear it to pieces. She didn't kill her mother. Dorothy was dying anyway. Of course, Sarah said quickly. I'm not suggesting otherwise. But the doubt was there now, a poisonous seed. Had Monica done something to speed things along, made sure Dorothy couldn't recover enough to discover the theft? What do you need from me? I asked. We need you to continue as planned, Marcus said. Let Monica file for conservatorship. The more aggressive she becomes, the stronger our case. When we present all this to a judge, the theft, the forgeries, the fraudulent reports, and now the forged insurance documents, she won't just lose the conservatorship, she'll lose everything, including her freedom, Sarah added. I looked at the photo of Dorothy that Sarah had included in the file. Her driver's license photo from 5 years ago, smiling, slightly, still healthy, still believing the best of everyone, especially her daughter. Do it, I said. Build the case, use everything. As I drove home, I thought about Monica as a child. How she'd crawl into our bed during thunderstorms. How Dorothy would sing to her until she fell asleep. I thought about her high school graduation, her wedding the day Ethan was born. And I thought about her in her mother's hospice room, practicing Dorothy's signature while the machines beeped and the morphine dripped and my wife lay dying. She stole from her dying mother. I said aloud to the empty car. The words hung in the air, irreversible, unforgivable. The daughter I'd loved was gone, if she'd ever existed at all. What remained was a stranger who happened to share my DNA and my wife's face. The war wasn't just beginning. It had been going on for years. I just hadn't known I was losing until now. The process server arrived on a Thursday morning while I was trimming Dorothy's rose bushes. He was young, uncomfortable, shifting his weight as he handed me the envelope. "Frank Bennett." "That's me." "You've been served." I took the packet without surprise. Marcus had warned me it was coming. What I hadn't expected was how official it would feel, how final. My own daughter had just sued me for control of my life. I opened it, standing there in the garden dirt, still under my fingernails. Petition for appointment of conservator. Monica Bennett Walsh, petitioner. Frank Bennett proposed conservatee. The language was clinical, reducing me to a series of allegations. Substantial deficits in cognitive function. Inability to manage financial affairs. Poses danger to own welfare. The supporting declarations were worse. Dr. Carl Bernard, a psychiatrist I'd never met, claimed that based on behavioral observations and family reports, I showed clear signs of dementia onset. Two names I didn't recognize, investors in Ryan's project Marcus had discovered, swore they'd witnessed me confused and disoriented at social gatherings I'd never attended. I was still standing there reading when a car pulled into the driveway. Not Monica's Mercedes or Ryan's Porsche, but a rental Ford Dusty from the road. Nathan stepped out. My younger son looked older than his 41 years. He'd inherited Dorothy's delicate features, but my height creating an awkward combination that suited his awkward personality. We hadn't spoken since Dorothy's funeral, where he'd stood apart from the family grieving alone. "Dad?" "Nathan." We stood there, two men who shared blood and little else, the October sun beating down on us. "I know what Monica's doing," he said, finally. "Come inside." In the kitchen, I made coffee while Nathan sat at the breakfast table, fidgeting with his phone. He'd driven down from Flagstaff 3 hours through the desert, and his shirt was wrinkled, his face unshaven. "She called me last week," he began. "Wanted me to sign an affidavit saying you were showing signs of confusion. Said it was for your own good, that you were going to lose everything if someone didn't step in. And I told her to go to hell." He looked up at me. "Dad, I know we haven't been close. After Mom died, I couldn't be around the family. It hurt too much. But I'm not blind. I've been watching Monica for years. She changed after she married Ryan. Or maybe she was always like this and I just didn't want to see it." He pulled out a folder from his bag. "I started keeping records when Mom got sick. Little things Monica said about the inheritance, about the house. Comments she made about your mental state, even when you were sharp as ever." I opened the folder, emails, text messages, dated, organized. "I started keeping records when Mom got sick. Emails, texts, screenshots. Monica discussing your decline 6 months ago when you were still sharp as a tack. It's all documented, Dad. Written proof." "This one's from 6 months ago." Nathan pointed to a printed email. "She's discussing your declining capacity with someone named Derek Ashford. He's an estate attorney who specializes in contested conservatorships. 6 months ago. When I was still playing golf 3 times a week, managing my own investments, serving on the HOA board. Nathan, why didn't you say something to who you?" His laugh was bitter. "The last time I tried to warn you about Monica was when I was 16. You said I was jealous of her success." He was right. Monica had always been the golden child. Successful, married well, gave us a grandson. Nathan had been the quiet one, the unsuccessful one, the one who taught high school math in Flagstaff and lived alone. "I'm sorry," I said. "Don't be. I'm not here for apologies. I'm here because what she's doing is wrong and Mom would have wanted me to stop her." The doorbell rang before I could respond. Through the window, I saw Ethan standing on the porch, backpack slung over his shoulder. "It's your grandson," I told Nathan. "Let him in." Ethan looked surprised to see his uncle. They hadn't been in the same room in 2 years. "Uncle Nathan, what are you doing here?" "Same thing you are, I imagine," Nathan said. "Trying to help your grandfather." Ethan set his backpack on the counter, pulled out his laptop. "Grandpa, I need to show you something. Mom doesn't know I have this." He opened a voice recording app, dozens of files listed. "I started recording since that dinner 3 days ago when she talked about the conservatorship. Just 3 conversations, but they're bad, Grandpa." He clicked on one from 3 days ago. Monica's voice filled the kitchen. "Don't care what Dad wants. He's not competent to make that decision. Once the conservatorship goes through, we'll have access to everything. The house alone will solve our problems. We can take out a mortgage, use it for the resort." Ryan's voice interrupted. "What about Ethan's college fund?" "What college fund? That money's been gone for months. We'll figure something out after Mexico starts turning a profit." Ethan stopped the recording. His face was pale, but determined. "She spent my college fund, the one Grandma set up." "We know," I said gently. "I'm sorry, Ethan." "There's more. This one's from yesterday." Another click. Monica again. "Dr. Bernard says he'll testify that Dad needs immediate intervention. For $5,000, he'll say whatever we need. The judge won't have a choice. We could have him in an assisted living facility by Christmas. Assisted living facility. Not to care for me, but to get me out of the way." Nathan looked at his nephew with something like pride. "You recorded all of this? Someone had to protect Grandpa." Ethan said simply. "Mom's lost her mind. Or maybe..." He paused. "Maybe this is who she always was, and I just didn't want to see it." The 3 of us sat there, 3 generations of Bennett men united for the first time in years. The golden child had become the enemy, and the forgotten son, an overlooked grandson, had become my allies. "What's the plan?" Nathan asked. I told them about Marcus, about Sarah Kim, about the evidence we'd gathered. Nathan's eyes widened when I mentioned the forged insurance documents. "She forged Mom's signature while your mother was dying." Nathan's face hardened in a way I'd never seen. He looked like Dorothy when she was angry. Quiet, controlled, dangerous. "What do you need from us?" he asked. "Your testimony, your evidence, your support in court?" "You have it," Nathan said immediately. "Mine too," Ethan added. "I'm 17, old enough to testify." I looked at these 2 men, my son, who I'd underestimated, my grandson, who was braver than his years, and felt something I hadn't felt since Dorothy died. Not quite hope, but close to it. "She won't expect this," I said. "She thinks Nathan won't get involved. She thinks Ethan is just a kid." "She thinks a lot of things," Nathan said, standing. "Time to show her how wrong she is." As they prepared to leave, Nathan to a hotel, Ethan back to Paradise Valley to maintain the illusion, my younger son paused at the door. "Dad, I should have fought harder. When Mom was sick, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't want to cause drama. We all did what we thought was best." "No," he said firmly. "Monica did what was best for Monica. The rest of us just let her." After they left, I stood in Dorothy's kitchen looking at the evidence spread across the table. Legal documents, recordings, testimonies. An arsenal built from betrayal. Monica thought she was fighting one confused old man. She was about to discover she was fighting 3 generations of Bennetts. And we were Dorothy's men, all of us. The war had just become a family affair. The hearing was set for Monday. 3 days to prepare for what would either be my liberation or my imprisonment. Marcus had filed our response to the conservatorship petition, and now both sides were scrambling to fortify their positions. Carmen called me Saturday morning, her voice shaking. "Mr. Frank, Ms. Monica just called me. She knows I talked to you." "What did she say?" "She said if I testify, she'll make sure I never work in Phoenix again. She said she knows people, immigration people. My papers are legal, Mr. Frank. I'm a citizen, but she said that wouldn't matter. Carmen, did you... I recorded it, every word. My nephew taught me how to use the app on my phone. I closed my eyes, relief washing over me. Can you send that to Marcus? Already did. Mr. Frank, I'm scared, but I'm more angry. Mrs. Dorothy was good to me. Ms. Monica? She paused. She's not the little girl I helped raise. An hour later, Nathan called. He was still at his hotel, had been served with papers that morning. Monica's lawyer just contacted me, he said, offering me a deal. If I support the conservatorship, she'll give me 20% of the estate when you pass. What did you say? I told him to tell Monica she can take her 20% and shove it. His voice hardened. Then she called me herself. Different approach. Oh, she said if I testify against her, I'm out of the will completely. No inheritance, nothing. I laughed, Dad. I actually laughed. She doesn't get it. I don't care about the money. I never have. Nathan, no, listen. She kept pushing, getting angrier. Said I was a failure, always had been jealous of her success. Then she said something about Mom. Said Mom always knew I was the disappointment. The cruelty of it took my breath away. Dorothy had loved both our children, equally had worried about Nathan's isolation, but never considered him a disappointment. That's when I started recording, Nathan continued. Got 5 minutes of her threatening, bribing, and finally screaming at me before she hung up. Marcus has it now. Meanwhile, Ryan was cracking. Ethan reported that his father had been pacing the house all morning, making phone calls to Mexico, his voice increasingly desperate. He keeps telling Mom to drop it, Ethan whispered over the phone. Says there has to be another way, but she won't listen. She told him he's weak, that this is why his businesses always fail. Their marriage was imploding, and Monica was too focused on her war against me to notice. Dr. Patricia Wells arrived at 2 o'clock for my competency evaluation. Unlike Dr. Bernard's phantom assessment, this was thorough. 3 hours of cognitive tests, memory exercises, problem-solving scenarios. Oh, Mr. Bennett, she said when we finished, I've been doing this for 20 years. You're not just competent, you're exceptionally sharp. Your strategic thinking in particular is remarkable. The idea that you need a conservator is frankly insulting. Will you testify to that? Gladly. What's being done to you is elder abuse, plain and simple. As she left, I noticed the sedan was back at the corner. Monica was still having me watched. I waved at the driver, who quickly looked away. My phone rang. Walter Hutchinson. Frank, I'm at the club. You need to know. Monica's here working the room. She's telling everyone you're suffering from dementia, that she's heartbroken, but has to step in. Half the members are ready to testify on her behalf. Let them salba, I said. Character witnesses who've been lied to won't stand up against medical records and financial evidence. There's something else. She's asking about Nathan, whether anyone's seen him in town. Frank, she seems unhinged. Her makeup is smeared, and she's had at least 3 martinis. Monica didn't drink. Not since Ethan was born. If she was drinking now, she was panicking. That evening, Marcus called with an update. The judge assigned to our case is Harold Chen. He's tough, but fair, has a reputation for seeing through family manipulation. Also, I've been in touch with the FBI. FBI, wire fraud crossing state lines with the Mexico transactions. This is bigger than just family court, Frank. Monica could be looking at federal charges. As I prepared for bed, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I opened it to find a photo. Monica and Ryan at their house bags packed by the door. A second text followed. They're planning something. Ethan. My grandson was now actively spying on his own parents for me. Sunday morning brought one final confrontation. Monica appeared at my door alone, her face pale and drawn. Dad, we need to talk. Come in. She sat on Dorothy's chair, and I bit back the urge to tell her to move. Drop the response to the conservatorship, she said without preamble. Sign the papers, let me handle everything, and this all goes away quietly. And if I don't, then I'll make sure everyone knows you're losing your mind. I'll have you declared incompetent so thoroughly that you'll spend your remaining years in a locked facility. You'll never see Ethan again. Ethan is 17. He can make his own choices. Not if I have anything to say about it. We stared at each other across the living room where she'd taken her first steps, opened Christmas presents, announced her engagement. Your mother would be ashamed of you, I said quietly. Something flickered in her eyes. Pain maybe, or just annoyance. Mom's dead, she said, standing. And soon, legally speaking, you will be too. After she left, I walked through the house, touching things Dorothy had loved. Her reading chair, her collection of Pueblo pottery, the framed photo from our 40th anniversary. Tomorrow a judge would decide if I had the right to keep living in this museum of our life together. But Monica had made a crucial error. In her panic, her drinking, her threats, she'd revealed her desperation. She wasn't confident anymore. She was terrified, and she should be. Tomorrow in court she would face not the confused old man she'd imagined, but a father, armed with truth, backed by family she'd betrayed, and defended by the best legal team money could buy. Money she hadn't managed to steal. Yet, the clock on Dorothy's mantel chimed midnight. In 9 hours, the war would end, one way or another. The courtroom was smaller than I'd expected. After all the build-up, all the preparation, it seemed almost anticlimactic to be sitting in this wood-paneled room that smelled of old books and floor wax. Judge Harold Chen presided from his bench, a man in his 60s with silver hair and eyes that missed nothing. Monica sat at the petitioner's table with her attorney Richard Dalton, a man who looked like he'd been born in a suit. She wore a conservative navy dress, her hair pulled back, playing the part of the concerned daughter. Ryan sat behind her in the gallery, fidgeting with his phone. At our table, Marcus arranged his documents with methodical precision, while Sarah Kim set up her laptop for the presentation. Nathan sat directly behind me, and I could feel his presence like a shield. Ethan was in the back row, having told his mother he had a school obligation. We're here on the matter of Bennett versus Bennett, Judge Chen began. A petition for conservatorship. Mr. Dalton, you may present your case. Dalton stood buttoning his jacket. Your Honor, we're here because Frank Bennett, age 72, is no longer capable of managing his considerable assets. His own family has watched his deterioration with growing alarm. He called his first witness. Dr. Carl Bernard took the stand, describing my supposed cognitive decline in clinical terms. He'd never met me, but that didn't stop him from painting a picture of a man in steep mental deterioration. Marcus's cross-examination was surgical. Dr. Bernard, when did you examine Mr. Bennett? I based my assessment on family reports and observed behaviors. So you never actually examined him? Not directly, but no further questions. The two investors testified next, claiming they'd seen me confused at social events. Marcus destroyed them in minutes, revealing their financial stakes in Ryan's resort project. Then it was our turn. Your Honor, Marcus began, what we have here is not a case of a father needing protection, but a daughter attempting to steal what remains of his systematically plundered estate. Dr. Patricia Wells took the stand first. Mr. Bennett displays exceptional cognitive function. His memory is intact. His reasoning sound, his financial understanding sophisticated. The suggestion that he needs a conservator is not just wrong, it's absurd. Then Sarah Kim began her presentation. The courtroom screens lit up with flowcharts showing the movement of money from my accounts to Pinnacle Designs to the failed Mexico resort. Gasps came from the gallery as the numbers appeared. $2.8 million, systematically drained over 2 years. But these are forged documents, Sarah explained, showing the fake statements Monica had sent me alongside the real ones. Mrs. Walsh created an elaborate fiction to hide her theft. Monica's face had gone pale. Ryan was staring at the floor. I'd like to play a recording, Your Honor, Marcus said. This was captured in Mr. Bennett's home during a conversation with the petitioner. Monica's voice filled the courtroom. I'll file for conservatorship if needed. We could also look at restructuring some of your investments. Then Ryan's desperate voice, the contractor in Mexico, $300,000 minimum. Monica's hands were shaking now. Dalton leaned over, whispering urgently, Your Honor, Nathan said, standing suddenly. I'd like to testify. Judge Chen nodded. State your name for the record. Nathan Bennett. I'm Frank's son, Monica's brother. He walked to the witness stand with quiet determination. My sister offered me 20% of our father's estate if I supported this conservatorship. When I refused, she threatened to disinherit me completely. I have the recording. Another recording played. Monica's voice angry and threatening, calling Nathan a failure, saying their mother knew he was a disappointment. That's not true, Nathan said quietly. Mom loved us both, but she saw what Monica was becoming. She warned Helen Morrison, warned Carmen Ruiz. She knew. Ethan stood up in the back. Your Honor, I have evidence too. Monica spun around. Ethan, sit down. I'm 17, Ethan said, walking forward. Old enough to testify. He held up his phone. I've been recording my mother for 2 weeks. She discussed spending my college fund putting my grandfather in a facility mortgaging his house for the resort. The recording played. Monica's voice casual and cold. What college fund? That money's been gone for months. Then the worst part, we could have him in an assisted living facility by Christmas. The courtroom was dead silent. Monica was crying now, but they seemed like tears of rage, not remorse. Carmen took the stand next, playing Monica's threatening phone call. The intimidation, the threats about immigration, the promise to destroy Carmen's life if she testified. Throughout it all, Ryan had been shrinking in his seat, his phone buzzing repeatedly. He glanced at it. A text from his lawyer in Mexico. Resort seized by authorities. Wire fraud investigation opened. His face went white. He looked at Monica, then at Ethan, his son who wouldn't meet his eyes. Finally, he stood. Your Honor, I need to say something. Dalton objected, but Judge Chen overruled him. Ryan walked to the front, hands trembling. I just got word the FBI is investigating me for wire fraud. My lawyer says cooperating now is my only chance to avoid 20 years in federal prison. I knew about the insurance fraud. He said, his voice barely above a whisper. Monica forged Dorothy's signature 3 weeks before she died. $800,000 meant for Ethan's education. I knew, and I said nothing because we needed the money for Mexico. The courtroom erupted. Dalton was on his feet, objecting. Monica was screaming at Ryan, calling him a coward, a failure. But I can't do this anymore. Ryan continued louder now. I can't watch her destroy her father the same way. Frank, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Judge Chen banged his gavel repeatedly. Order Mrs. Walsh, control yourself, or you'll be removed. Monica stood, her carefully constructed image completely shattered. He's senile, she screamed, pointing at me. He doesn't understand anything. That money is mine. I earned it taking care of him, managing everything. That's enough, Judge Chen said sharply. I've heard enough. Mr. Bennett clearly has full mental capacity. The petition for conservatorship is denied. But he wasn't done. Furthermore, based on the evidence presented here, evidence of fraud, forgery, elder abuse, and insurance fraud, I'm referring this entire matter to the District Attorney's Office for criminal investigation. Mrs. Walsh, you may want to retain criminal counsel. Monica collapsed into her chair. Dalton was packing his briefcase, distancing himself already. Mr. Bennett, Judge Chen said, looking at me directly, I'm also issuing an emergency order freezing all assets in Mrs. Walsh's control pending investigation. Your remaining funds will be protected. Marcus leaned over. We won, Frank. Had we... I looked at Monica, my daughter, now facing criminal charges. At Ryan, destroyed by his choices. At Ethan, who'd had to betray his mother to save me. Nathan put his hand on my shoulder. You did what you had to do. As the bailiff escorted Monica out, she would be arrested in the hallway Marcus had warned me, she turned to look at me one last time. For just a moment, I saw the little girl who used to dance on my feet at weddings. Then she was gone, and I was left with my 2 sons, one biological, one grandson, in a courtroom that smelled of justice and sorrow in equal measure. We had won the war, but the cost had been the complete destruction of the family Dorothy and I had built. Outside the courthouse, reporters were already gathering. The story would be everywhere by evening. Prominent Phoenix family destroyed by greed. But for now, we walked out together, Nathan, Ethan, and me, into the harsh Arizona sun, free but forever changed. 6 months later, spring had come to Phoenix in a burst of color that Dorothy would have loved. The desert marigolds were blooming, and the Palo Verde trees had turned into clouds of yellow blossoms. I knelt in the garden, my knees protesting against the ground, planting the last of the rose bushes I'd ordered. A little to the left, Grandpa Ethan said, standing back to survey our work. He'd been living with me since the trial, his presence filling some of the silence in the house. We'd planted 12 bushes that morning, Dorothy's favorite David Austin roses, the ones that bloomed repeatedly and smelled like honey. Each one was a small act of resurrection, bringing her garden back to life. Your grandmother would say we're overthinking it, I said, but moved the bush anyway. She'd be right. Ethan smiled, and for a moment I saw Dorothy in his expression. She always said gardens shouldn't be perfect. They should be loved. Carmen appeared with lemonade moving through the yard, with the easy familiarity of someone who belonged. She'd returned the day after the trial, simply showing up with her supplies and resuming her work as if the past 2 years hadn't happened. Mr. Frank, you need to rest. The sun is getting strong. Just this last one, Carmen. She shook her head but smiled. Stubborn like always. Nathan arrived as we were finishing his monthly visit from Flagstaff. He came every few weeks now, sometimes staying the weekend. We were still learning how to be father and son again, but Dorothy's absence had taught us both that time was too precious to waste on old distances. The roses look good, he said, helping me to my feet. Ethan did most of the work. That's not true, Ethan protested. We sat on the patio, 3 generations sharing the shade, and Nathan updated me on the legal proceedings. Ryan had taken a plea deal testifying against Monica in exchange for probation and community service. His cooperation had been complete. Financial records recordings, he'd secretly made details about the Mexico property that revealed even more fraud. The divorce was finalized last week, Nathan said quietly, glancing at Ethan. I know, Ethan said. Dad told me he's moving to Colorado, starting over. Ryan had signed away all parental rights in exchange for Monica not pursuing alimony from whatever assets he managed to salvage. It was a coward's exit, but perhaps the kindest thing he'd done in years. And Monica? I asked, though I wasn't sure I wanted to know. Sentencing is next month. Her lawyer thinks 12 to 15 years, maybe 10, with good behavior. 10 years. My daughter would be 53 when she got out. Ethan would be 27, possibly married, maybe with children of his own, who would never know their grandmother. There's something else, Nathan said, pulling an envelope from his jacket. This came to my address. It's for you. The envelope bore the return address of Arizona State Prison Complex, Perryville. Monica's handwriting spelled out my name in careful letters. I held it for a long moment, feeling its weight. Negligible. Physically. Enormous. Emotionally. I'll give you some privacy, Nathan said, but I stopped him. Stay, both of you. I opened the envelope. Monica's handwriting, once so confident, was smaller, now cramped. Dad, I'm sorry. Not for taking the money. I still think I deserved it after everything I did. But for what I did to Mom. I dream about her final night. Did she know? Was she trying to tell me something when she squeezed my hand? The morphine made her sleep, but sometimes I wonder if she was awake inside screaming. I'll never forgive myself for that. Neither should you. I read it twice. Even now she couldn't truly apologize. Even now it was about what she deserved. I stood, walked to the outdoor fireplace we'd installed for Dorothy's 50th birthday, and held the letter to the flame. Some bridges can't be rebuilt, I said, watching the pages curl. And some people never really change. Grandpa, Ethan said softly, your grandmother taught me to forgive, but she also taught me that forgiveness doesn't mean accepting poison back into your life. We were quiet for a moment, then Ethan pulled out an envelope of his own, thick, official looking. I was waiting for the right time, he said, hands shaking slightly. It's from MIT, early admission. Nathan and I both reached for him at the same time, creating an awkward, beautiful three-way embrace. She'd be so proud, Nathan said, his voice thick. I want to study civil engineering, Ethan said, pulling back to look at me. Like you, Grandpa, build things that last. That evening, after Nathan had left, and Ethan was video calling friends about MIT, I walked through the house alone. The financial recovery had been slow but steady. Marcus and Sarah had managed to reclaim about half of what Monica had stolen. The rest was gone forever, sunk into Mexican sand and bad decisions. But the house was safe. Ethan's education was funded. The original $800,000 Monica had stolen from Dorothy's insurance had been court-ordered back into a trust for him. And somehow, despite everything, we'd found a way to be a family again. Not the family Dorothy and I had planned, but perhaps the one we were meant to have. I stood in Dorothy's craft room looking at her remaining birdhouses. The Victorian painted lady sat on the shelf, the recording device long since removed. Such a small thing to have captured such enormous betrayal. I kept my promise. I said to the empty room, or maybe to Dorothy, wherever she was, our grandson is safe. Nathan came home. The roses are blooming again. Outside, the desert was settling into evening, the sky turning the brilliant orange and pink that only Arizona could produce. Ethan was in the kitchen attempting to cook dinner. Carmen had been teaching him. Nathan had promised to come for Thanksgiving. Life was moving forward, different but not destroyed. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. Judge approved the final settlement. You're free, Frank. Free. It was a word that meant something different now. Not free from responsibility or family or even pain, but free from the elaborate prison Monica had tried to build around me. Free to grieve the daughter I'd lost while celebrating the family I'd found. I walked back to the garden where Dorothy's roses were already taking root, their leaves reaching toward the last of the day's sun. In a few months, they'd bloom. By the time Monica was released, they'd be magnificent, established, thriving without her. Dorothy, I whispered to the evening sky, I kept my promise. Our grandson is safe. The wind picked up, carrying the scent of desert flowers and new beginnings. Somewhere in Perryville, my daughter sat in a cell she'd built with her own greed. But here in the house, Dorothy and I had made a home life continued. Ethan called from the kitchen. Something about smoke, and did we have a fire extinguisher? I smiled, heading inside to save dinner and salvage what could be saved. Some things were worth rebuilding after all. If this reminded you of family values, share your lesson in the comments. Then subscribe and ring the bell. Don't miss the next chapter.